Meanwhile, we started to proactively optimize our product mix, particularly in the supermarket category, to improve operating efficiency and profitability, which we expect to impact its growth rate for a transitionary period. However, we believe it is important for us to stay focused on our core categories and capabilities in order to establish a healthier and more sustainable growth trajectory for the long term. That said, for the emerging categories, such as healthcare, home goods, pets, and sports and outdoors, we continued to experience double-digit top-line growth in the quarter, demonstrating our expanding user mindshare across a wide range of categories. We are seeing the result of our business optimization. JD Retail's fulfilled gross margin was up 80 basis points compared to the same quarter last year, mainly driven by our optimization efforts and the improving economies of scale. Also, as we continue to expand gross margin for most categories and remained disciplined in OPEX, JD Retail's operating margin was up 115 basis points on a year-over-year basis to 5.2% in Q3, above the 5% mark for the first time since the founding of the company. JD Logistics, or JDL, maintained a solid top-line growth in Q3 and has achieved break-even for 2 quarters in a row. JD Logistics Q3 revenues grew by 39% year-on-year to 36 billion RMB, partially because JDL acquired a majority stake in Deppon, which was consolidated since the end of July. Excluding the impact from the consolidation of Deppon, JDL's revenues were up 16% year-on-year, mainly driven by the resilient growth in revenues from external customers, which also saw acceleration on a sequential basis. As a result, revenues from external customers once again achieved a record high revenue contribution of nearly 70%. More encouragingly, as JDL relentlessly focused on improving customer mix, optimizing operations, and realizing the economies of scale, its operating margin was up 350 basis points from a year ago to 0.7% in a seasonally low quarter. These results demonstrate JDL's ability to maintain a resilient growth, even in a challenging environment, while remaining well on track of improving its profitability. Dada reported revenues of 2.4 billion RMB, and its operating loss narrowed sequentially to 300 million RMB. Dada continued to work closely with both internal and external business partners. Notably, JD Super, our supermarket business within JD Retail, has been collaborating with Dada to broaden product portfolio that offers intra-city on-demand retail services. The Shop Now service to consumers achieved a triple-digit GMV growth in Q3. This initiative also contributed positively to the margin of supermarket category. Dada also established collaborations with a variety of external brands. For example, Dada Now has been expanding instant delivery services to the coffee and the beverage category, which is now available in over 2,000 cities and counties nationwide. As you can see, with a broader spectrum of use cases offered by Dada, JD is in a much better position to serve our customers anytime, anywhere. Finally, as I shared in the last quarter, we continued to pursue rational development across our new business segment. It reported revenue of 5 billion RMB and operating profits of 280 million RMB, with a positive operating margin in the quarter. This was mainly due to the gain from the first tranche closing of JD Property's third property core fund in Q3 and the narrowing loss from Jingxi business. As JD Property has a well-proven business model with total transferred AUM surpassing 27 billion RMB, we remain committed to further expanding this business in line with our prudent investment philosophy. In the face of the complex macro conditions, both domestically and internationally, we have also been pursuing strategic realignments in other non-core business, such as the Jingxi business. These measures resulted in a more moderate revenue growth, but continued to narrow the operating loss sequentially, even after excluding the gain from JD Property. Moving to the consolidated bottom line, as we proactively adopted measures to focus on our core businesses and improve operating efficiency, our bottom line reached a new milestone in Q3. Non-GAAP net income attributable to ordinary shareholders surpassed the 10 billion RMB mark for a single quarter for the first time in history. Non-GAAP net margin was 4.1%, representing an impressive year-on-year improvement of 180 basis points and reaching a historic high. On a GAAP basis, net income attributable to ordinary shareholders also improved to 6 billion RMB, with GAAP net margin of 2.4%. Our free cash flow for the trailing 12 months this quarter was 25.8 billion RMB. This was mainly driven by our improving operating cash flow, while partially offset by an increase of CapEx in our infrastructure expansion that would position us well for the future growth. By the end of Q3, cash and cash equivalents, restricted cash, and short-term investments added up to a total of 218 billion RMB, up from 207 billion RMB last quarter. To close my remarks, the solid set of Q3 results demonstrated JD's business resilience in the face of rapidly evolving macro conditions. There may be no better time than now to review the progress across our business initiatives and make positive changes where needed. We believe it's vital, especially in a time of uncertainties, to stay focused on delivering better operating efficiency, lower costs, and best-in-class user experience, which represents the essence of the retail business and the bedrock of JD's long-term success. Our focus on building resilient business means that we are well positioned to help our users and business partners to cope with external challenges and make meaningful contributions to the society. All of these factors will make sure we are well prepared to benefit the next phase of great growth opportunities, which we believe won't be too far ahead. With that, let's open the call to the Q&A. Thank you.
Thank you. The question and answer session of this conference call will start in a moment. To ask a question, please press star then 1 on your touch-tone phone. To remove yourself from queue, please press star then 2. In order to be fair to all callers who wish to ask a question, we will take 2 questions at a time from each caller. If you have more than 2 questions, please rejoin the question queue after your first question has been addressed. Today's first question comes from Ronald Keung with Goldman Sachs. Please go ahead.
谢谢徐雷董 Sandy 和 Sean， 也恭喜3季度非常强劲的利润。那主要想问呢，我们到这个新阶段，尤其刚才说到物流达新业务也不再拖累整个集团的利润水平了。那管理层未来会考虑聚焦在哪些新的增长点和投资机会？另外呢，看到京东零售这边呢，超市增长可能在3季度的确有所放缓。那同时呢，利润率创了新高。那比如我们明年打算怎么平衡最大化这个零售业务的增长、低价的优势和健康稳定的利润率？谢谢，让我翻译一下。Thank you, Xu Leidong, Sandy, and Sean, and congratulations on the strong third quarter results. Want to ask about the investment phase and next growth drivers, as we can see from the third quarter that logistics, data, and new businesses are no longer dragging the group earnings. So where are we thinking on next investments and growth areas? And then within JD Logistics, we've seen that the general merchandise supermarket growth had moderated, while margin level for JD Retail reached a new high. So heading into next year, how are we thinking about balancing growth, price advantage, and stable margins? Thank you.
我来回答这个问题。我先说一下，京东19年以来一直没有，无论是这个做什么样的业务，19年以来一直没有变的坚持的东西，就是我们在集团所有的业务层面上，我们都会去坚持看这个体验成本和效率，这是我们做任何新业务、老业务做得好都要坚持的这3点。另外，以及在 2C 业务上面，我们非常关注的就是产品价格服务。我相信很多的分析师朋友应该都知道，其实这里面最难的就是如何去坚持19年。
This is Xu. Let me start the question by sharing with you our long-term health philosophy to do business. This has remained unchanged for the 19 years of JD.com. We will always put great importance to the user's experience and the cost and efficiency, no matter what kind of old and new business we do. We will stick to these 3 points. And in terms of our to-customer businesses, we'll attach great importance to the quality of our products and prices and good prices and premier services. So many of our investors know this is very difficult to always stick to these philosophies and concepts through the 19 years of JD's development.
那么如果要说有变化的呢，应该是今年我们最大的变化就是我们进行了战略的主航道的聚焦，也是年初我们基于整个经济形势和供应链的状况来进行判断。那么目前看起来的话，我们当时的变化或者叫调整应该是非常及时的，在行业里面应该也是最快的。
And in terms of some changes this year, I would say that we make more concentration and focus on our core businesses. This is based on our analysis early this year, and we have made some proactive measures according to our early analysis, which today we think it's a very timely adjustment we have made, and it's also taking the leading actions among this industry.
我们可以确认的是，尽管疫情和经济的下行呢，那么今年造成了很多的企业的困难，那我们可以确定的是，应该说未来的话应该是向好的，已经在开始有复苏的迹象，明确的迹象，但不确定的是这个复苏的迹象的速度会有多快。所以说，对于我们管理层来说，我们更重要的是，在坚持目前的我们的整个的战略方向的情况下，来看清楚未来的整个市场的行业的变化、发展和经济复苏的力度，来保持资源的投入。在这点上呢，我们还是非常清楚的。
And we are certain that even though many enterprises are facing challenges, we do see a brighter future, and there are some obvious signs on the economic recovery. Even though the sign is very clear, but we are still not very clear about how fast the speed of the recovery. So from the management perspective, what we want to do is that we stick to our current strategies, and we should have a very clear view on the future in terms of which directions and what will be changing in this industry, in this market, and how strong is this momentum so as to make our resources investment in a more clear pace.
具体到零售的战略的话，我们应该在上个季度也已经提到了，我们未来也不会变的，就是零售的四大战略，包括了供应链中台的能力的提升、下沉市场、开放生态和同城零售，这四个我们也不会轻易的发生变化。
And in terms of the strategies for JD Retail, we will continue to stick to the big four strategies, which are the building of the supply chain capabilities and expansion into the lower tier markets and building an open ecosystem and the intra-city retail. We will stick to these four.
具体到大蛋糕品类，因为大蛋糕品类三季度的增速呢跟以前相比呢确实是下滑，那么这里面有多种原因，其中呢疫情的影响还是比较明显的。但同时呢可以非常明确的告诉大家，就是大蛋糕业务的这个健康度、利润和这个品类的管理能力呢，今年应该上一个新的台阶。而且我们的大蛋糕用户的在主站的渗透率已经超过了50%，消费用户数的这种增长也是远远的高于我们整个大盘的增长。同时，当然我们还做了很多同城业务、下沉市场的一些创新或者叫布局。谢谢。
And in terms of the supermarket business, indeed, mainly affected by the COVID resurgences, its growth is going in the down way. However, there's many progresses is made in these categories, including its healthiness, its profitability, and its ability to manage categories. So its overall for the JD Super users accounts for 50% of the overall JD.com platform. And we are confident for the future growth of this category. And we also made some new experiments in this category for our intra-city and lower tier market expansion this quarter. Thank you.
Thank you. And our next question comes from Thomas Chong at Jefferies. Please go ahead.
晚上好，谢谢管理层接受我的提问。我第一个问题是关于近期看到物流受到疫情比较大的一个影响，想看管理层这个会对那个消费者的情绪还有用户体验会有受到多大的影响呢？然后如果我们看一个短期的 GMV 还有一个收入的增长呢，我们应该怎么去理解呢这个物流的问题？第二个问题呢，就是关于我们在未来一段时间我们对不同的品类手机、家电、快消品服饰还有其他的品类最近的情况可以分享一下吗？Thanks management for taking my questions and congratulations on a very solid set of results. My first question is about the logistics disruption due to the pandemic recently. How should we think about the impact to consumer sentiment, user experience, and on that front, how should we think about the short-term impact to GMV and revenue growth momentum? And my second question is about the latest product category trend, of course, smartphones, consumer electronics, FMCG, and apparels. Thank you.
确实，如您所说，整个物流今年受到的疫情的影响，应该是疫情3年以来最大的时候。我可以跟大家分享一个数据，就是从9月份开始的话，一直到现在的话，京东的自己地址的这个净值大概已经超过了17%，这是3年以来最高的这个数字。自己地址就应该能够送到用户的家里。当然，这个17%呢，并不代表着订单量的影响和这个销售额的影响，但是足以看到，就是对整个物流的履约，应该是在全国范围内、全行业内应该是最高的。
And indeed, as you pointed out, that the logistic fulfillment has been severely impacted by the COVID situation. Actually, in the past 3 years, this year is the most heavily affected. I want to share with you JD data here that since September to present, in terms of our logistic fulfillment, 17% of our customer home addresses have been affected by this COVID control measures. And this doesn't mean that it affects the orders amount and the sales on JD, but indeed this is the worst year in terms of fulfillment.
整个的状态呢，肯定会对我们的履约和销售一定会有影响。但同时呢，我想跟大家分享一下，就是最新的这个国家邮政总局的关于整个行业的这个物流履约的整个行业的体验了。那京东最新的数据应该在行业排第1。我想这应该就是我们这么多年来我们的供应链能力打造，在这种非常艰难的情况下，我们能够在行业里面能够继续的赢得消费者的认可的一个最重要的原因。
And indeed, these difficult situations will affect our sales and fulfillment. But also, I'm proud to share with you, according to China's Postal Bureau's surveys recently, in terms of the service experiences, JD Logistics stands #1 among this industry, which once again validated our efforts made in our supply chain capability building to help us to stand up and gain consumers' trust in this difficult time.
那么结合双11的数据，我们可以看到的是，因为上面提到的一些原因，所以说订单的取消率，确实比往年会略高，因为有些物流履约的一些困难，或者是更长的一些时间。但是可以再次分享的是，因为京东的整个购物平台是确定性购物， 确定性购物的一个消费者的习惯，也就意味着在冲动型、兴趣型购物方面，他们所带来的订单取消和退货将会更高。
And just also basing our data from the single-day brand promotion, we do see there are higher rate of order cancellations. It's a higher cancellation rate than the past years because of the fulfillment difficulties and the longer waiting times. However, I want to emphasize here that people come to JD.com for more planned shopping. So we believe the cancellation rate for those platforms with more impulsive shopping or shopping based on their interests, the cancellation rate should be higher.
另外一个群体也是我们非常在意的，就是品牌商和商家。实际上，京东的这种确定性的购物以及这个较好的这种购物体验，给他们带来的经营成本、综合性经营成本以及盈利性，是目前看起来整个平台里最好的。
And another group of people which attach great importance are our brand partners and merchants. And based on JD's shopping features with more planned shopping and premier shopping experiences, these can translate to the better operating cost and the profitability for the merchants and brands and make us stand out among all the other e-commerce platforms.
那么现在分析一下品类的情况，整个3季度里面，我们增速比较好的品类是家电、生鲜、健康、运动、宠物等这些品类，还有就是京东小时购这种同城的业务。以及呢，包括5星在内的线下全渠道业务，应该整体表现的是优于整个平均大盘的。
And in terms of the faster-growing categories, in Q3, we've seen that home appliances, fresh foods, health, sports, and pets are doing a good job, also including our Shop Now services for the intracity retail and our offline business 5-star appliance stores.
那么如果说增速不理想的品类呢，应该有美妆和手机这两个品类应该还是受到比较大的挑战的。大家也可以看到行业的数据，但是随着新机在9月中下旬的陆续的发布来说，手机品类的这个近期的改善，包括一直延续到4季度，应该还是有所改善的。大宗商品类里面的像酒类和母婴类呢，应该还是受到整个消费场景受限的影响，包括消费人口的影响还是比较大的。但同时呢，因为京东整个的品类我们有30多个一级类目啊，我们今年会对一些长期亏损的一些类目我们会做一些判断，所以说我们会将一些业务做一些调整。所以说我们能看到是今天整个各个品类的健康度和用户体验，包括商家的满意度都在提升，而且整体的基本上所有的品类都在提升市占率。
And for those less ideal performing categories include cosmetics and mobile phones. And but also we see that since September, as some new phone models releases, the situation is getting better, and this will continue in the lead up to Q4. And for this alcohol category, it's affected by the limited shopping scenarios due to the COVID, and also the baby and the mother category is affected due to the reduced newborns. And there are many first-tier categories on JD.com, and we are regularly reviewing those loss-making categories and make dynamic adjustments to maintain healthiness across all categories. And we have seen improvement on the performance of all categories and better satisfaction among the brands and merchants. And despite of all the odds, we see their market share all continue to increase.
好，谢谢。
Thank you.
This is Sandy. I can add more color on the short-term GMV or revenue trend. So as Xu Zong just mentioned, we are still facing some short-term challenges due to the COVID control measures. And also we view the 20 new rules guiding COVID control policies to be very positive and constructive for the recovery of domestic supply chain and consumer confidence. But it will take some time to actually see the positive impact on consumption data given the current situation. So in the short term, we recommend analysts to be more conservative in modeling the top line performance. But we are more confident in the long-term strategies and the growth next year. Specifically for JD Retail, yes, we will see that the resurging of COVID situation affects more regions in the country at this time. And also there are disruptions to logistics and fulfillment, resulting in a decrease in the successful fulfillment rate, as Xu Zong just mentioned, as well as an increase in the order cancel or return rate compared to prior years. So the consumers also become more conservative or rational under the current macro environment. And in fact, the demand was good during the major promotions, but softer before and after the promotion. So in Q4, we see that different categories performed differently, but in general, the essential daily necessity products performed stronger than the discretionary products. In particular, for apparels and other discretionary products remain relatively soft. So the management team is paying more attention to operating quality this year, taking proactive initiatives, including making some structural adjustments to the SKUs or subcategories with heavy investments. So this will have some negative impact on the short-term top-line growth, but we believe it will build very good foundation for our long-term top-line performance. So with all these factors considered, the top-line growth trend will continue in Q4, but may slow down a bit moderately from Q3. And then for JD Logistics,
its organic top-line growth will be similar in Q3 to Q3, and the internal revenue will again be affected by the decrease of the orders of Jingxi business. And JD Logistics external revenue growth will significantly outpace that of internal revenue again in the fourth quarter. Deppon was consolidated at the end of July, and it will contribute more to external revenue in Q4. On the new business segment side, so the revenue growth of Jingxi Tiantian will still be negative, will be a drag for our overall revenue performance. And international business strategy has also been adjusted to a certain extent to improve the operating efficiency. And while our JD Property maintains a relatively high growth momentum. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question, please.
Our next question comes from Eddie Wong with Morgan Stanley. Please go ahead.
徐总、李总上感谢接受我提问。那我也恭喜一下这个非常好的这个利润的 beat。我这边其实有个问题，就是说之前石磊总也提到了，就是说这个疫情管控的这个逐步放松对这个消费的带来的复苏可能还是存在一些不确定性。那我想问，因为我们的确是在 underground 是看到了，就是说整个疫情政策的放松这个是有很明确的信号。那明年就是说在这个放松的情况下，能带来消费进一步的复苏的话，我们在现有的情况下会做出一些怎么样的就是现在战略上的一些微调或者准备，这个可能是包括我们在获客方面或者是品类的这个 mix 方面或者是促销的方面然后紧跟的一个问题就是说，因为的确是看到我们的这个 margin JD Retail 这边 margin 的这个爆发力是很强的，改善的空间在过去2个季度。那如果明年整个消费复苏的，在这个前提下，就是说我们有没有可能是说这个 margin 的改善和这个收入和 GMV 的增长是同步是会非常大的，还是说这个可能会如果整个消费复苏比较明显的话，我们可能会把 margin 稍微拉回来一点，然后就是把这个更加注重这个来看这个消费复苏，我们能得到更多的一个这个 top line 的增长那我自己也翻译一下。Thank you, management, for taking my question. My question is that we have already witnessed a positive signal in terms of the COVID policy relaxation as well as the potential reopening in early next year. So just want to hear your view that assuming that this reopening will gradually to happen in next year, what kind of a preparation or strategy change based on our current strategy in this year? And the follow-up question is that we have seen very strong margin improvement in terms of the JD Retail business and other business. So if assuming that there will be a very strong recovery in terms of consumption next year, are we able to achieve both strong margin improvement together with the top line receleration, or it will be a balance between the margin improvement with and the top line growth? Thank you.
我再回答第一个问题，第二个问题一会儿Sandy再来做一些补充吧。我想稍微纠正一点的是，这里面包括了确定和不确定。我可以确定的是，现在是在准备复苏当中，也就意味着我认为现在是最坏的时刻已经基本过去，就是未来应该都会有不断的利好或者是不断的正面的一些因素和信息，这是非常非常明确的确定的。但是不确定的，刚才讲的是具体反弹的速度和力度是在什么时候能够反弹多高。因为坦率的说，这个经济是一个非常复杂的，那么涉及到了具体到了消费，尤其中国，尤其京东又是一个覆盖全中国的1、2、3、4、5线的这个一个平台，那么也就意味着可能在不同的人群和不同的地区上，它反弹是不一样的。另外呢，就是今年的话呢，因为年初我们跟很多品牌商沟通的时候发现，几乎所有的品牌商今年更关注的是利润，因为他们也做了预判，以及呢年初的俄乌战争会对部分品类的供应链会受影响，所以说接下来的话，那么各个品类的品牌商基于目前的情况，他们对明年的这种态度，在利润还是增长上面，以及全球供应链的恢复状况，其实都决定了我们明年在不同的时间点，我们会采用什么样的恢复投资或者是新增投资的策略。我现在没法确实给出一个非常明确的。
And let me answer the first question. First, I want to make a bit of correction. There are certainties and uncertainties. By the certainties, I mean is that we do see there are some new signals and we are getting ready for the good things to come. I believe that the worst time has been passed, and we do receive some signals and some good information and factors for a brighter future. However, for the rebound, the question is when and how strong. So these are the uncertainties. We are not quite sure how strong and what's the time the recovery will come. So for JD.com, we are such a large company that covering the whole country from the 1st to 5th tier cities, and we believe the recovery will come in different formats and different times on different group of people in different regions. And since based on our communications with our brand partners, they all expressed to their strategy to focus on profit this year, and this also coupled with their concerns on the supply chain impact made by the Ukraine war. So whether or not next year they will focus more on profitability or on the growth, it's really hard to tell at this moment. So we will also make our dynamics evaluation and to make the investment decisions at the right time next year. Hope this answers your question.
另外呢，关于那个今年利润的情况呢，我也想做一个解释，就是京东这么多年来利润的增长呢，其实主要驱动是来自于两个方面的，一个方面呢是品类结构的变化啊，那么有的品类的占比越来越高，可能这个品类的毛利率也会越来越高，以及我们服务性收入的提升，这是第一个重要的变化。第二个就是解金融全世界所有的行业大家都会提到叫降本增效。这两个是实际上是这么多年以来我们一直能够去持续不断提升利润的一个最重要的原因。那但是今年的我觉得利润的最重要的变化呢，或者要改善呢，应该是在降本增效里的降本，比如说我们更聚焦，比如说我们在内部的管理上面，但增效我们也像往年一样做，但是我认为从明后年我们看的话，其实我们更多的会在增效上面，因为在我的角度看来，整个集团还有太多的效率可以提升啊。好，谢谢。
And on the profit, I want to make a further explanation here. For JD's growth throughout the years, there are two main drivers. One is for the product structure changes. With a higher percentage of certain products, their growth margins will improve steadily, and also the increasing revenue from the services we provide. So throughout the years, you can hear that all the companies are talking about lower the cost and improve efficiency. And for JD.com this year, we focus more on lower the cost and to improve the ability for the internal management. And I believe in next year and in the next 2 years, we will focus more on the improvement of efficiency. I can see there's many areas we can continue to improve efficiency. That's what I want to add. Thank you.
This is Sandy. I want to emphasize that our long-term margin target hasn't changed, which is based on the industry level margin and the operating efficiency we can generate through technology and the scale of our business operation. If the consumer confidence is largely recovered, we will add more investments to drive growth in users and market share. However, at the same time, we will also gain additional operating efficiency, as Xu Zong just mentioned, due to scale of benefit, due to technology, and due to the increased contribution of our service income. So this is the beauty of retail business. Although we achieved a very important milestone for net income this quarter at the group level, but on an annual basis, our margin is still below the industry level for almost all business segments. So we always there's still room for us to continue to improve our bottom line performance. JD always pursue sustainable growth, and we will try to deliver stable margin with steady improvement year over year until our long-term margin target is met. Of course, during the journey, we will make dynamic adjustments based on the market situation. Thank you.
Thank you. And our next question today comes from Lingyi Zhao with SWS Research. Please go ahead.
管理层晚上好，我是山万宏源证券赵令一。恭喜京东本季度再次取得大超预期的成绩，也感谢管理层接受我的提问。我的第一个问题是关于同城零售，那目前同城零售的势能很强，我们怎么看未来长期的趋势和发展空间？达达并入之后都做了哪些融合方面的调整？会在哪些领域协同发展？同时我们也关注到了徐雷总在人民日报上的文章，促进数字经济和实体经济深度融合。我的第二个问题是，可否谈一谈京东在数字经济和实体经济融合上的举措？我翻译一下。Good evening, this is Lingyi Zhao from SWS Research. I'd like to congratulate the management team on the great results and thank you for taking my question. My first question is about on-demand retail. What is the long-term vision we see in on-demand retail market? And after Dada's integration, what adjustments have been made and which fields will be summarized? We all see the article by Mr. Xu Leidong in People's Daily, which talks about promoting the deep integration of digital and real sectors of economy. My next question is, could you please introduce JD's measures in these big trends? Thank you.
因为之前也回答过很多次关于同城零售业，我今天想给大家就更新一些我看到的和我们的思考啊。首先我想分享的就是京东进入同城零售完全是基于用户的需求，而不是说我们基于一个生意的增长机会啊。我想这个可以非常明确的告诉大家。然后呢，而且我们会用供应链的方式去理解这个业务。我不想揣测其他的公司进入到这个领域里面是基于什么样的一个，反正这是京东自己非常明确的，这是第一点。
Thank you for the question, and I have shared a lot about the intracity retail before, and now I want to give you some update on our thoughts and observations. So first I want to say that for JD.com to enter into the intracity retail business, it's purely based on the need drive of the users. It's not some business opportunities we jump in. It's based on the user's demand. And we're looking at this business, and our understanding is based on the perspective of supply chain. I don't want to think in other people's brain about how they think about intracity retail. This is where we start from.
第二个就是我们可能各家切入的维度是不太一样的，比如说我们更多的先从 KA 的商超连锁大型的 KA 这个角度先切入，品类上呢我们先从3C 和这个商超便利店这个品类去切入，但是可能有的公司会从中小开 开始切入。这个我觉得大家可能结合自身的优劣势切入的角度是不太一样的。
And in terms of the entering point, different companies adopted different dimensions. For JD.com, we entered this market by building relations with the big supermarket chains as our KA. And in terms of the categories, we start with our 3C and supermarket categories. And for other players, they might start with some SME stores. So we are entering in different directions.
还有呢，就是品牌商是我们在做同城零售跟其他公司相比来说，应该是我们具备的优势。因为品牌商在 B2C 的业务上面跟我们产生了已经非常大的体量的合作，以及双方的各个维度的，然后包括在供应链协同上，在产品销售上，在新品上市，在整个提高营销效率上面，其实我们有多年的合作。所以说我们在做同城零售的时候，品牌商是一个我们非常非常好的合作伙伴。我们跟品牌商一起去结合线下的商超便利店，形成了三方的共同的受益，所以说可能会更坚固一些。
And our resources and relationship with brand partners is one of the key strengths for us in this intracity business. And this has been based on our long-time collaboration with our already existed B2C models. We have been collaborating with our brand partners in many directions, in many dimensions, on the supply chain cooperation, marketing and sales, the release of new products, etc. And altogether, we are forging three-party winning situations among JD brand partners and the offline supermarkets.
我们用一个品牌来举例，比如说苹果的 iPhone 14，大家应该知道在9月下旬发布，其中呢在同城零售或者叫即时零售上面有多家公司都应该说也都利用苹果的这个发新机的发布来做销售做营销。我们拿到的数据是我们应该是在同期同城零售或者叫即时零售方面是第2名的7到10倍，但是我们从来没拿它去做所谓的营销，因为我们是从服务消费者如何快速便捷的购买苹果手机，以及跟苹果官方来进行合作，去提高效率的角度。
Let me make one example about the intracity retail cooperation with Apple. As you know that in this September, Apple released its iPhone 14, and a lot of companies are taking this opportunity to do marketing. And according to all the data we collected on this market during the same period of time, JD.com, our intracity retailing business topped in terms of the sales, and we are 7 to 9 times higher in terms of sales of iPhone 14 series as opposed to the second place, the runner-up retailer platform. However, we do not want to brag about it, because our starting point to do this collaboration is to provide more convenience for consumers to buy the new series of iPhone, and we believe the value to collaborate with the official brand and to improve efficiency for this new phone release.
当然我们从自身跟 B2C 能力相比来说，这种新型的供应链，我们认为自己还是具备可以大大提升改善的空间。例如说在用户体验方面，比如说在这个跟品牌商的这个多方面协同合作方面，包括 LBS 的综合服务能力方面，包括物流怎么去优化履约和运力方面，其实我们觉得还是有很多可以提升的空间。所以现阶段的话，我们更多的对它是关注在用户的体验指标、用户的复购指标，以及这个订单的增长情况和这个全站的用户渗透情况，更多的是从效率的和体验指标上去看这块业务的。
And as opposed to traditional B2C model, this intracity retail is a new type of supply chain we are building. There's still a big improvement room for us to improve, in such as user experience, the synergies we form with our brand partners, the LBS-based services, and optimize the fulfillment and the transportation power improvement. So for now, we will focus on several indicators for this business, including user experience, their repurchase rate, the improvement, the number of orders, etc. So still, we focus on the efficiency and experience to develop this business.
关于这个您提到的这个我们跟实体经济、数字经济的融合，我们的一些举措呢可以分享。第一个呢，因为今年我们提出叫有责任的供应链，因为我们不仅要保证自身的我们供应链的稳定性跟可靠性，我们还希望能够通过自己能力的开放和服务的开放，带动整个供应链产业链上下游各企业的数字化转型和降本增效。完了以后呢，包括去提高上游企业的这种高质量的发展。
And in terms of the integration with the real economy, I want to share that JD is building a responsible supply chain, and this does not only provide more stability and reliability for our own supply chain, we also open ourselves with these capabilities to support our partners upstream and downstream to help in their digital transformation and improve cost and efficiency, and to promote a high-quality real economy development.
那么我们目前供应链的服务应该超过800万家的这个活跃企业客户。其中呢，这里面在华的16个代表企业有90%以上。那么呢，全国应该有将近70%的专精特新的中小企业应该选择京东的服务。同时呢，在特定的一些行业，比如说像制造能源领域，我们也提供一些专业的供应链的服务。
For JD's supply chain services, we are now serving over 8 million active enterprise customers. This includes over 90% of global 500 companies who operate in China and nearly 70% of the so-called specialized and sophisticated SMEs. And we also provide some specialized supply chain services to the manufacturing and energy fields.
另外就是我们供应链还链接了全国大概300多个城市的数百万的中小门店，类型很多就不再做分享介绍了。这里面呢，我们不仅帮他们解决销售和服务的这个最后1公里的问题，也把供应链里面的那个最初1公里的一些问题，也能够做到支持和服务。所以说呢，应该说给这些中小的门店，给他们带来的是引流增收和降本增效。
At the same time, JD's supply chain has been connected with millions of small and medium stores across China in over 300 cities. There are many forms I want to elaborate. And we are not only providing the last mile solutions on their sales and services, but also helping them on the first mile of the supply chain in the upstream. This has been a very effective support for them to drive more traffic and lower their cost and improve their business efficiency.
在这里我想重点强调的就是，京东本身是一个低成本、合理利润的一家运营的公司，所以说我们非常清楚，在线下的这些中小企业，实际上他们的经营的难度是非常高的。所以说我们在做跟这些企业合作的时候，我们永远不会采用去分食他们利润的方式，而是大家共同协同去降低成本。在这种情况下，我们在获得合理的这个利润，这可能是我们一直在做，并且未来也坚持在做的。所以在这一方面呢，可能不太能像其他的公司能够更多的希望通过线下这种方式获得超高的利润，我认为是不合理的。
And here I just want to add that JD.com generates rational profits, and we're running based on a low cost. And we fully understand the difficulties for the SMEs. They build their business in the offline scenarios. So while we are doing the supply chain support for them, we don't want to eat their profits. We want to form a synergies with them, and together we build rational profits. So this will not make us as some other companies who are entering this offline market and generate ultra profits. This is not something I think rational. Thank you.
那么最后一点就是关于那个我们2020年开始启动的乡村振兴的这个奔赴计划。目前来看的话，我们带动了应该数千亿的产值，帮助数百万的农户来增收。并且我们也应该说有希望能够提前实现我们当年设的3年产值超万亿的这个目标。以上说的所有的应该说都是我们作为一家新兴实体企业我们的理解和我们正在做的事情。其实呢，从我们自己内部非常清楚，就是我们做的还不够好，也是因为我们的能力还需要去提升。但是我们的目标角度来说，我们是坚定不移的。好，谢谢。
And lastly, I want to mention that since 2020, JD has launched our rural revitalization initiative named called March to Rich Plan, and this plan has driven tens of billions of industrial output in the rural areas and helping millions of farmers to increase their income. And we do confident that we set a goal to achieve trillions yuan of industrial output under this program in rural areas within 3 years' time, and we can accomplish this ahead of the schedule. And so all of these are our understandings as a new type real economy company. However, we know we are not doing enough. We are still improving ourselves, improving our capabilities. However, this is the goal we set, and we will stick to it. Thank you.
Thank you. We are now approaching the end of the conference call. I will now turn the call over to JD.com's Sean Zhang for any closing remarks.
Thank you for joining us on the call today and for your questions. If you have further questions, please contact me and our team. We appreciate your interest in JD.com as always, and looking forward to talking to you next time again.